Coming up on Up at Noon, the Ready Player One reviews actually make us want to see it. Solo might not be a #1 box office movie. And oh, by the way, the Avengers are now a gun. All that and more right now on Up at Noon Live.
What's up? We're back.
Hey.
We're back.
We're doing it, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Up at Noon. I'm Brian Altano. This is Max Scoville. Up at Noon is the weekly comedy variety show here, live on IGN, YouTube, Twitch, Grundle, Figures.
Figures.
Fimble, and
Figures it out.
Dunst. The #1 platform for Kirsten Dunst's Windows Media viewer files.
What we're getting at here is that there are too many streaming platforms and it's difficult to keep track of them at all, but we're on a bunch of them, I think.
That's right. We are back from a 2-week hiatus. Hiatus. I'm not sure how you say that word.
It's like a car.
My man here went to Vietnam, and he came back, and he's got just large snakes in his belly and all sorts of weird figments of animals and such. But this is gonna be a great show this week. We have very strange Avengers action figures. We have some very bootleg Mario toys. We have some movies to talk about, some exciting news, and all sorts of cool stuff. You can catch us in the chat on youtube.com/IGN. Also, twitch.tv/IGN or IGN.com, or use the hashtag #UpAtNoon. That's UPatNoon, all one thing. And we will interact with you live during the show. We've got our chat monitors going on over here. Very high energy. We have giant coffees.
CowX123 says, "Hi guys, I love the trailers." Thanks. We didn't make any of them. They were made by big movie studios.
Yeah, we had a long weekend of working on that new Avengers trailer.
Yeah, we've been hard at work. So speaking of which, let's get into the kind of the news of the week and what's been going on in the world and the internet and the stuff that we talk about here. The big thing that everyone was talking about last night, this is funny, Fortnite is one of the biggest games in the world right now, and Drake, the Degrassi star, jumped onto Twitch to play some Fortnite with Fortnite player Ninja, and everyone watched. Everybody.
Yeah. 600,000 concurrence or something
Which
like that.
broke all the records of Twitch doing streaming. And it's so funny because everyone's like, wipes away tear, video games have made it, guys. And it's like, yeah, I mean, how old is Drake? He's like
31, 32.
Yeah, he's like my age, I mean, the dude grew up with video games, It's like,
Yeah.
I think this is kind of weird thing where people are like, wow, celebrities play games too. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, you reach a certain point where that's a thing you did as a kid,
Yeah, I think the real story here is that this is sort of, it gives hope to anybody Twitch streaming that one day a famous actor from Degrassi might show up on their stream and help them play a video game. The thing about Ninja is that he is one of the best Fortnite players in the world. And I don't want to diss Drake, but this dude kind of carried you, man. He was kind of holding it down for you, holding down the Fortnite, as they say. So that's cool. That's cool news. I tweeted at Twitch yesterday, and I was like, hey, this is great. Can we get Wu-Tang to play Smash Brothers now?
I want that.
That's really what I want. If we're going to actually start pairing rappers with video games, like a fine wine and a nice cheers, then let's get Wu-Tang to play Smash Brothers.
That'd be pretty good.
I really want to say,
do they even support, 10-person competitive play there?
You could play up to 8 people in some modes with 3D.
So what, Raekwon the chef's got to sit out or something?
No, Raekwon won't sit out. I would say that's more of a Capadonna
okay,
joint.
All right, fair enough.
Capadonna can play as Jigglypuff.
So another good news, we talked about this. Marvel dropped, wait for it, a teaser for a trailer. Because that's how things are done these days. They announced that there's going to be a brand new Infinity War trailer dropping tomorrow. I would love to talk about it, but we have a show on Thursday, and this is a thing that's happening on Friday. So unfortunately, we don't get to do that. And of course, when the trailer drops, it's going to do that thing that I really hate. I really hate this in modern trailers, that it shows you the teaser for the trailer before the trailer. So it's going to show you this weird 5-second clip of a bunch of stuff happening, and then it's going to show you the Marvel Studios logo, and then it's going to show you the trailer. And you're
how dumb are we that we need that now? That's like if you went to a restaurant and they ran out with all of the parts of your meal, and they're like, here's your steak, here's dessert, and then they ran away, and you're like, why? Just, can I have...
We have brought you a small amuse-bouche. It is just a bite of your main course. You have to wait longer for that.
So this is a teaser trailer for a trailer, which is a teaser for a film.
Yeah. And I told him about that, which was a description of a teaser of a trailer for a film, which is about as far away from... I could also just do a pantomime of Captain America, which if you're really just whittling it down. Anyway, moving on. Tomb Raider, the movie, is out today, I think. We had Alicia
Tonight.
Vikander on the show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you and I haven't really gotten to talk about the quality of this film or, I won't say lack thereof. IGN put a review up written by the very wonderful Miranda Sanchez. She gave it a 5.5. She didn't like it a lot. But that's still okay on our scale. And in the pantheon of video game movies, that's fine.
I'd say as far as video game movies go, it could be a lot worse.
Oh yeah, for
as
sure.
far as a direct Tomb Raider adaptation goes, I think that they didn't really do it one way or the other. I think Alicia Vikander was awesome. I think she got it. As far as like what you're doing with the character Lara Croft in the movie, it was kind of just like, what are we doing here, you know?
Yeah, we had her on the show a couple weeks ago, and she, like just Max just said, I mean, she's far and away the best part of this film. Kind of undeniably awesome as Lara Croft. I think the story of the movie doesn't really come together, but it's I don't know, like watching on a flight, get a couple cocktails in you.
I think people
it's
are
fine.
torn between like, do you want like a direct adaptation of a game, or do you want a new story entirely? And this one kind of didn't really do either.
Yes.
It didn't have like it didn't have like the big scary like man who lived in the mountain from Tomb Raider. At no point did she crawl through a cave full of blood, which would have been exciting. But
kind of bummed about that. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, it's weird though. Between every scene, she crawls through a cave. There are no loading screens in the movie, but every scene is interspersed with those.
That's
very
true.
strange.
But
anyway,
that's not the only Tomb Raider news, obviously.
So, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the new Tomb Raider game, and we found this out because somebody took a cam rip of a trailer in French.
They also poured through the source code of the official website. We also knew about the title of this game almost a year ago. It feels like it's impossible to have surprises anymore.
Yeah.
But that's okay. At the end of the day, this means that there is a brand new Tomb Raider game coming. It's sort of the closeout of the trilogy of the Lara Croft origin reboot story that we saw starting in 2013 with Tomb Raider. And then continued with Rise of the Tomb Raider from a few years ago. Those are fantastic games. If for some odd reason you haven't played them, they work as both awesome action games and also sort of smaller, more bite-sized, open-world-ish games that kind of give you an opportunity to take your time
a really
and go
good
hunting and
video
stuff like
game.
that. Yeah, they're really fun.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and I'm excited about the next one. So September 14th. I'm also, as much as it's funny that like Shadow of the Tomb Raider has leaked via like some guy's laptop screen on the train, and then this trailer that leaked, and then people digging through the source code. I like that the Crystal Dynamics or Square Enix, Tomb Raider like community Twitter was like, hey guys, we are working on a new game. Maybe just hang out. We're going to announce it. Just give us a second. Let us announce it. Oh, never mind. You're data mining.
The cool thing here is
it's soon.
It's soon. Yeah, September 14th is great news.
I appreciate that they're kind of keeping it in the oven until it's ready to serve. That's a nice way to do food or games. Anyway.
Also, it doesn't sound like this one is Xbox exclusive or anything like that. It'll just be multi-platform.
Nice.
So.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping they port the last two to Switch in the meantime. I know that's probably very difficult to do.
Be very tricky.
But I don't understand how any of that works. But I'm one of those just like entitled pieces of garbage that wakes up every morning and goes,
but
put it on Switch.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know, what's the segue? Geralt's going to be in Soul Calibur 6. That's cool. The Witcher Twitter account has been sort of like teasing that like Kaer Morhen has heard many swords a-clashing, but there's going to be some new swords clashing soon. Perhaps Geralt will make a return, but not in a Witcher game. What could it be? And everyone's like, it's probably Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur.
It's guys, it's Soul Calibur. And they're like, behold, Geralt is in Soul Calibur, and we're like, we know. So everyone saw that one coming because what else would a guy with two swords and beautiful hair show up in? There he is. There's Geralt in Soul Calibur 6. Kaer Morhen is the level. I'm super down with this. Yeah.
Yeah, these are fun games. They are complete nonsense, but I love them. I'm not good at fighting games, but I do love punching a man who has dildos on his knees.
Yeah, I mean I kind of want to know, did they make Geralt using the in-game character creator?
Maybe.
I mean, honestly, if they didn't do it, somebody else would have. The character creator in Soul Calibur 5 was insane. People were like, I made Tony the Tiger, but also he's got his wiener out. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
That's pretty on brand for that franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, this brings back like a wonderful, whimsical time where, you could play as Link in Soul Calibur, or you could play as Darth Vader in Soul Calibur. I do like this franchise as a place where characters from completely different series can show up every now and then and whoop some ass. And
I love that that's what fighting games are now. Like, it's totally like that playground, like, it's like that, just that nonsense fan fiction, like, duh, who would win in the fight? And now it's like, we have games to prove that. It's like, oh, I mean, like, I jumped into Tekken 7 the other day, and it was Akuma from Street Fighter versus a panda wearing a bunch of, like, Harajuku Girl fanny pack stuff. And I'm like, what happened? What happened to fighting games?
Yeah, and then we have like Ninja Turtles and Predator show up and other games. Like, I kind of love all that.
What the hell? It's
awesome.
Great. It's really cool.
It rules.
So anyway, that's kind of the news of the week. Obviously, there will be more news next week, but you'll have to wait until next Thursday to find out what it is. Or you can just read the internet. I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, on the subject of universes colliding, one game, or what am I saying? One game. One movie that a lot of people have been looking forward to and a lot of other people have been complaining about on the internet is Ready Player One, and the reviews are out. They did a big screening at South by Southwest, and IGN's own Alana Pierce was there to see it and to review it, actually. And honestly, we've both been kind of lukewarm about it. I think not because we don't think it what's our problem with this? What's our problem with this movie?
Okay, I will very quickly break down my sort of like narrative arc that's happened with this film. I skipped the book because from everything I read from it, made it seem like it was terribly written, and that's fine. Then the movie trailer started hitting, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. It just looks like some kind of like sort of flashy like VR for kids movie. I'm like, that's fun. And then they started playing notes of Willy Wonka and showing these Labyrinth reboot posters and basically, you know, paying tribute to a lot of stuff that I grew up with specifically, like Back to the Future and Jurassic Park. And I was like, maybe the movie is for me. And then I started getting annoyed by it because I was like, you know what? I actually don't like the character in this movie. I don't like this avatar. I don't like a lot of the art direction here. But now I'm dipping and I'm coming back up and I'm saying like, well, it's Spielberg and he's having a ton of fun with this. And people are evoking Luc Besson in their reviews and they're talking about how he's having a lot of fun like visually here. And I have some issues with the Iron Giant like having a gun and stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems to sort of miss the point, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, this is a movie that is, of course, like a love letter to pop culture, and all the things that are in it are like there because, you know, Ernest Cline, who wrote the book, obviously is a fan of that stuff, and he created a universe that's about. It is derivative, but kind of constructive at the same time. Yeah. I mean, the stuff I've read of the book, like really, it makes my eyes roll back very hard in my head. But in terms of putting it on the screen, like if anybody has the right to play around with like iconic '80s nostalgic things, it's Spielberg. You know,
it's the guy that made a bunch.
Exactly.
of them.
Yeah. So. Reviews are out, and they're not bad at all.
Yeah, they're
critics are begrudgingly really fond of this movie. I think a lot of people were even kind of, you know, going in being like, okay, here we go. And I mean, I think we're kind of in that camp where we're like, we'll give it a fair shake and see what happens. I'm actually really curious because of some of the stuff critics are saying in the reviews.
Yeah, so there was a screening at South by Southwest earlier in the week, and talking to Alana Pierce, who reviewed it for us, she was very clear in explaining that this is not the sort of screening that's like, we see press screenings a lot. Sometimes like Max and I will go see a comedy at 10 o'clock in the morning at an empty theater. I saw the movie Good Time pretty much by myself with like, there were like 2 7-year-old men sitting next to me. I'm like, this is a weird way to see a movie.
It's creepy.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
The screening at South by was effectively, they built an entire theater into this like 80s arcade. And there were pinball tables and there were DeLoreans and there was an Iron Giant statue and Steven Spielberg came out and was like, that's my new movie. And everyone's like, yeah, there was a standing ovation. So obviously not the circumstances that literally any other human being on planet Earth will see this film. I don't think that that's like a bias. I don't think we need to open up the movie gate or anything like that.
No, but I think there is something to be said for like, there's a happy medium between a dark room where you're sitting there next to 2 70-year-old men and a packed movie theater where you're seeing a popcorn movie with like you would normally see a movie. So maybe the Iron Giant isn't there normally, but I mean, I think people kind of came away from this screening being like, this is okay, you know? Here we got some kind of pull quotes from Rotten Tomatoes. It's sitting at like a 70 or 80% on there right now, which
is
pretty
78%
70,
currently.
Yeah, there you go, 78%. Here's from Alana's very own here at IGN. She said, while it's not particularly emotional, and I was disappointed by how many questions are left by Shallow Visits to the Real World, it's still a lot of fun. I mean, that's the bottom line, is it's still a lot of fun. I mean, I wasn't really expecting a movie called Ready Player One to be properly emotional, you know? Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting like, you know, a war horse or anything.
I am kind of kicking myself though, because I'm like, oh, this is like a visually ambitious, very, very chaotic and interesting looking sci-fi movie that up until now I had no interest in.
Yeah.
And that's weird for me because I see I mean, I see some of the dumbest sci-fi movies that fall into that
I think
bucket.
there's a thing that happens where the second they start showing us characters and things we're already familiar with, you show DeLoreans, you show Kaneda's motorcycle, you show the Gundam, and it's like, I've already seen those things. I know what they are, and I like big movies like this because they are exploring new places and new adventures. The whole idea of adventure is you're seeing something you've never seen before. And in this case, you're like, hey, remember this? It's like feels like a Family Guy episode.
Well, you were asking at our desk the other day, and Tom Marks, who's our PC editor here at IGN, kind of answered, to go on a quick tangent. You said, like, why does a movie like Ready Player One sort of like push us away, but then stuff like Wreck-It Ralph and Roger Rabbit that evokes so many references to things that we know and love, why do they work? And this one for us is sort of like people are kind of recoiling at it. And the conversation we sort of landed on, that with the help of Tom, is that the characters in those films live squarely in those universes, right? Like Roger Rabbit lives in Toontown. Ralph lives in the weird like internet video game world.
When Wreck-It Ralph runs into like Bowser, he's not like, oh my god, it's Bowser from the Mario Brothers games. He's like, hey, it's Bowser. I know this guy because I live in the same universe as him.
Yeah, we were in AA together.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, some more quotes from reviews. Meredith Borders from Bloody Disgusting says, Spielberg loves pop culture, loves film, loves video games, and misfit kids in the 1980s, and Ready Player One is his good-natured tribute to all those things, and yes, even to himself. Okay, that's hitting the right notes for me. Like, if this is Spielberg kind of almost being like, let's do some fan servicey nonsense. Let's do some like, let's play some greatest hits.
Yeah.
I'm kind of down with that.
He's earned it. You know, he did The Post last year, which was, you know,
I mean, he goes
the
for
funnest
Oscars.
time you can have in the theaters thinking about newspapers.
Sometimes he goes for Oscar fodder, and sometimes he goes for like, Adventure Times stuff, which, so I don't know. Owen Gleiberman from Variety says, it's an accomplished and intermittently hypnotic movie, yet you may feel like you're occupied more than you are invested. That's a very fancy way of saying it's junk food, and I'm okay with that,
Mm-hmm. He's actually, it's weird, he's almost describing like most of my VR experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which, I mean, that makes sense.
Like you're there and you can't really look away, but you're not really into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's interesting. Leonardo Fairman from Black Girl Nerds says, a remarkable crowd pleaser that immeasurably improves upon the book, which I like to hear a lot because I don't like what I've read of the book, full of whacked out, dazzling visuals. Again, very good stuff, but still easy to follow and enjoy, even for non-gamers. This is a very kind of even-handed statement to make about this. Also, improving on the book, the movie The Martian, I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was very funny. It was clever. It was enjoyable. I read the book of The Martian and I thought it was insufferable because it was like reading jokes on Reddit. Like it was very like internet-y humor. And I don't know if maybe just like in the process of taking jokes from the printed page onto the screen, they have people who are there to kind of massage them into being actually funny, or there's something inherently funnier about video than there is in written text. But I don't know. I think I could see how maybe jokes that didn't work in the book do land on screen.
Check it out, we got a virus.
We got hacked.
Ready Player One.
Oh my God! Yeah, we got the Symantec window pop up there.
That's a reference.
Anyway,
only 2000s kids remember that.
Joe Gross from Austin American Statesman says, "You want total immersion into a fantasy world? Spielberg is definitely your guy."
All right.
Exactly. If it's classic Spielberg, I'm there. This is key. Ready Player One, for better or worse, opens with Van Halen's Jump and never looks back. Up to you if that's a good or a bad sign.
I'd prefer Chris Cross's Jump or House of Pain's Jump Around, but sure, I'll take it.
You gotta wait 15 years for that, and you get Ready Player Two.
All right.
But yeah, no, I mean that's kind of it. Is like this movie hasn't been ashamed of itself, which I kind of appreciate. That it's kind of coming out and it's like, hey, this is full of references to things. So we're not trying to pretend that it's, they're like in the trailers they are showing you all the familiar things. They aren't leaning back and being like, here's a carefully crafted dystopian future, and here's the technology we're using. They're like, no, it's the Iron Giant and the Fast and the Furious, or the DeLorean car, whatever.
Yeah, I guess the question at this point is like, that one of the 2 or 3 reviews ago, one of the quotes you read about, like, even for non-gamers, people will enjoy this movie. I'm interested to see how this one performs and who goes to actually see it, because it seems so far that a lot of like nerds and gamers are they're completely split. They're either like, I'm all in, or they're like, I'm repulsed by how referential this is. Yeah. Whereas, I don't know, people who are on the outside looking in, I wonder if they even have any idea what's even happening with this film. I don't think that watching, aside from Steven Spielberg seeing a trailer for it, if I didn't know any of the references or anything, I'd just be like, what is this movie about?
Right. Yeah, I mean, we always have these huge discussions about movies like this, and then oftentimes they come out and then it's just like, they don't do anything. I mean, Scott Pilgrim was a perfect example where that had tons and tons of buzz behind it, and it was all these gamers on the internet were like, this is finally the movie for us. and then it just bombed. So, you know, what are you going to do? Matt Razak at Flixus says the cultural references crammed in everywhere should have given the movie a heart, but instead feel like contractual obligations. This is kind of on the, the counterpoint. This is an argument that a lot of people have, is that it is, it's like, why not?
I would say that's confirming some of the biggest fears and doubters about this movie.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, but also, what did you expect? And then, finally, the adaptation of the Ernest Cline novel is a supremely entertaining crowd pleaser and a film that brings something to the table that everyone should be wistful for, that classic Spielberg touch. So it's a Spielberg movie about Spielberg movies. I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
It's not trying to pretend it's anything else. So there we go.
Yeah, I guess let the man do a victory lap.
I don't actually even know when Ready Player One comes out, but maybe I'll go see that film in the theaters.
I think it's out in a week. It actually screened early, which is an incredibly good sign, because they were pretty positive about it. So
cool.
That's good to know. There's Tomb Raider this weekend, and I believe Ready Player One next weekend. So I'm actually interested to see how both of those movies perform at the box office. I have a feeling Tomb Raider is not going to basically tear the roof off the theater by any means. I also think that, without spoiling anything, that movie is basically left to be sort of open-ended in terms of sequels and stuff like that, so we'll see how that goes. I know that Ready Player One is effectively kind of doing the same thing from what I've read. So box office obviously decides everything with those movies. You and I went to go see a movie called Valerian last year, which we both really enjoyed, despite the fact that we knew the leads were sort of wooden, because it was visually stunning, and it was just a blast to watch, But that movie utterly tanked, and no one saw it, and it will never get a sequel, even though they were effectively trying to launch a new cinematic universe. So everything's make it or break it with these things. And that brings us to our next subject, a question I didn't ever think we'd actually be asking, but we will ask it today. Will Solo be the first Star Wars movie to not be #1 in theaters? Now, you probably say, you're insane. Why would you even ask that question? Let's run down all of the little sort of data points that could impact why Solo, the upcoming Star Wars story spin-off from the main movies, obviously prequel movie to the original Han Solo stories, starring a name that's hard to say and a bunch of his friends.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this movie. Solo, obviously, we saw a teaser trailer leading from the Super Bowl into the next day, which was a good, actual, full reveal trailer.
I think I've seen this trailer like 2 or 3 times. Something.
Yeah, I dig it. I really dig it. I still don't buy this guy as Han Solo, but that's okay. The world is awesome. The set looks great.
We're at a point. Something's different.
Yeah.
So we're the biggest Star Wars fans around. We'll obviously go to bat for it. We'll play defense for us for whatever. But the fact that there's a Star Wars movie around the corner and we're both kind of like,
Yeah. So now the main factors going into this movie that make it really interesting is, number one, the big elephant in the room, or the sea cow that gets milked, is The Last Jedi. I adore this movie, so do you. Many of you do not, and that's okay. That's totally all right. It did $1 billion at the box office. It had something like an 89-90% of Rotten Tomatoes. Critics really loved it. A lot of fans did not. I've been digging into all the special features on that movie. I really appreciate how it came together. I understand entirely that it was divisive. The people who made the movie, as they were making it, constantly questioned everything. Mark Hamill, to this day, is still sort of like, I don't know what they did with Luke, but whatever, it is what it is. A lot of people walked out of that being like, Star Wars is dead to me.
Right.
It's over. I'm done with it. 6 months later, less than 6 months later, that movie came out in December. May is Solo. And so you're coming off of this movie, highly divisive, really left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, with another Star Wars movie. This one capitalizing on one of the other most iconic characters in the entire franchise, and then maybe treading on some territory with him that we might not have seen before, we might not like. So if you don't like how Luke Skywalker ended, maybe you won't like how Han Solo began.
Right. It's a Star Wars prequel, which some people love, and other people have kind of a bad taste in their mouth. The last time they were like, hey, we're making a movie about a young Star Wars character, it kind of backfired for an entire generation. So, also worth noting, this is out May 25th. This is a Star Wars movie coming out in May is not unusual, but this is the first time that's happened under Disney. They've really staked out that December Christmas slot. Summertime stuff is typically has become superhero territory. Avengers: Infinity War is out 3 weeks before this. I think Deadpool 2 is out the week before this.
Right. So you have a lot of stuff there to compete with, especially for number one. Deadpool is getting reshoots right now. There's some not so hot buzz about it, but I have a feeling it'll come together as something enjoyable. Avengers obviously is the one to beat. Black Panther was number one at the box office, I believe still is, or was for a very, very long time. These are not movies that come out, do 2 weeks at the top and then disappear. These are juggernauts. These are billion-dollar franchises. Again, so is Star Wars, but I do find it mildly peculiar that Disney would take two of its biggest franchises and effectively pit them against each other.
Well, I think they backpedaled and they realized, hey, let's actually move up Infinity War, which they did. They moved the release date up, so, I mean, that's kind of crazy.
I know, they were neck and neck right there.
That doesn't usually happen. Interesting thing, so Solo, the title's been changed in China. In China, The Last Jedi did not do well. I don't know if it properly bombed, but it definitely didn't meet expectations. And the title has been changed to Ranger Solo. And Star Wars has been stripped out of the title entirely. Meanwhile, in France, the movie is just called Han Solo.
Which is cool. That's what it should be called here.
Yeah, I think the whole A Star Wars Story thing is a little bit wonky. I don't like Rogue One, I thought was just always a bad name.
Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
They should have called it Death Star, A Star Wars Story, or something, the Death Star movie. That's not a good one. The Death Star. Anyway, the point is, Solo is kind of in an odd spot, and it's, so worth noting, the last Star Wars movie that came out in summertime was Revenge of the Sith. That was in 2005. That was before I graduated high school. And it was the highest grossing film of 2005 because it was a Star Wars movie, and that was still when Star Wars was the hottest thing in the world. But if you look at the other highest grossing movies of that year, the number 2 highest grossing movie of 2005 was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I think number 3 was King Kong. So
interesting. Revenge of the Sith obviously was also the conclusion of the Darth Vader origin story. It was the conclusion of a prequel trilogy. It was a buildup of an entire new generation's first exposure to Star Wars, and a lot of old, jaded Star Wars fans promised that this was finally going to be the one to get things right after Attack of the Clones kind of dropped the ball. I think a singular side story, origin story about an iconic character who, spoilers, we saw die in the films 2 years ago, is kind of in a different boat. So I would love to be wrong.
People were waiting, 35 years for The Force Awakens, and I don't know how long for like Rogue One was effectively like a expanded universe movie.
Yeah.
And The Last Jedi, that was you've been waiting either 3 years or 37 years, depending on what you see the movie as. And Solo, you've been waiting 6 months to see this movie. Star Wars movies used to be this like incredibly special like milestone thing. We're kind of past that point.
Yeah, we are. I don't think we are not at complete and total franchise fatigue yet. If you look at the views on the Solo trailer, it did really well. But also, I think we're getting close. After this, we get not a break, but we get a little bit of time off from Star Wars for about a year and a half. I don't think this movie will not be number one, but I'm saying there might be a chance that it's not. So let us know what you think. Tell us in the comments, tweet at us, all that fun stuff. I'm really interested to see how this goes. I think reviews are going to kind of make it or break it for this film. Because at the end of the day, Star Wars movies, for the most part, review really well. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, also, regardless of how it is, we get to go see it, and there's going to be some aliens in it, and Chewbacca will be there, and we get to see them fly the Millennium Falcon. So there's all kinds of nice things to think about it, but if it doesn't do well, if it doesn't make $1 billion, then I don't know, whatever. I don't think it's going to kill Star Wars, but
But either way, I think it's kind of important to have somewhat of a bad feeling about this. Speaking of bad feelings about this,
there we go.
Segue.
Yeah. So one of the ongoing things throughout Star Wars is people going, I have a bad feeling about this. And it's very stupid. It's very corny. It's in every single Star Wars movie. I'm sure it pops up left and right in the Clone Wars and Rebels. We thought we'd rank the bad feelings, both in terms of their context in the movies and as sort of bits of service to the audience and how they make sense. Overall, I think there are 11. I think in one of the movies it gets says twice, and most of the other ones it's kind of once or here and there. But yeah, so this isn't in order. There's actually a video up on IGN that does them all in order, and it's all the times everyone said anything about a bad feeling. But let's get things started right here, and hopefully you have a good feeling about our choices of where these go. Now, bottom of the list, worst of all, this is clearly the worst one, regardless of how you feel about it. Revenge of the Sith has probably the sloppiest bad feeling in all of the Star Wars movies, and here's my reasoning for it. It's in the very beginning during the Battle of Coruscant when Obi-Wan's flying his ship around, and he says, "I've got a bad feeling about this." He's about to crash into a door. At this point, it's like, first of all, why would this character say this? Why would you make the time to sort of sarcastically be like, I have a bad feeling about the impending vehicular death I'm about to suffer? It's weird because Obi-Wan, he says it in episode 1. We'll get to that in a second. But usually you say it to someone else. Is he like saying it to the comms? I feel like generally you'd be like, if you're actually worried, you'd be like, oh dear God, I'm gonna crash and hit the door. But if you're like, if you're confident, then it's just kind of smug, which isn't really Obi-Wan. So I don't know. I'm not wild about that one.
No, that's not a good one.
Now, moving
in the pantheons of I've got bad feelings about this, not a great one.
Yeah. Now, moving on, another one that's not great is Anakin in the Geonosis arena when he's tied to that pillar and they bring out those animals and they're about to fight them, and he's like, I've got a very bad feeling about this. And meanwhile, in the background, Padme is just like picking the cuffs there. So if you look at this in the context of this scene, dude, this guy sucks. He's just like this smug Jedi Knight who's like, his girlfriend's like taking action and she's like, well, we gotta get the hell out of here. I'm gonna handle this. And he's just like, oh, I don't know what we're gonna do. So either you're just fretting or you're cracking jokes. Either way, not really being the best Jedi Knight in that scenario.
No, but step it up, man. Come on.
Yeah, and then as an audience member, it doesn't really do a lot to ingratiate Anakin. You're kind of like, okay, I remember that line from all the rest of these films. And I guess it kind of is being like, oh, well, Anakin sucks, but at least Padme is on top of things. So I don't know. I'm not wild about that scene. I like it when the animals come out later, but like as far as the uttering of that iconic line, really just...
I like the lizard and the crab.
Not the best one. Now, obviously, it gets says a bunch in the original trilogy. I think Han is the one who says it the most.
Yep.
The dumbest time he says it is in Return of the Jedi, which is when he's about to be eaten by small bears. And it's sort of like, there's a bunch of these where it's like, you're cracking a joke right now. They're holding him over a spit. They're worshiping his protocol droid that he's been bullying for the entire time he's known him. And he sort of looks at the fire and he's like, I got a very bad feeling about this. I was like, well, yeah, dude, they're gonna eat you. You're about to be eaten. You should have had a bad feeling when you got caught in a net. So it's like, again, as a member of the audience, you're like, I get it. You've said that line before. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a funny joke. But as far as like, this just goes with that pattern of Han being a kind of a doofus throughout Return of the Jedi. Like
he's hungover. He woke up in a wall and then he's basically trying to rub his eyes and drink Bloody Marys until he gets back into it.
Your sight will return in time. The hibernation sickness will wear off, but you probably have some brain damage.
Who are you? Someone who loves you.
Yeah. Now moving on, the only time I believe it's said in Empire Strikes Back is by Leia in the Space Slug. And this is one of the first times where I feel like it's kind of like, this is finding a good balance here. This is before they realize they're in the Space Slug. They've been chased down by the Empire. Like, the situation isn't good. You shouldn't be having good feelings right now. You should probably be suffering, early PTSD if you don't already have it. But she's kind of walking around. Han's like, oh yeah, there's Minox. They're gonna latch onto the power cables. It's no good. She's like, I have a bad feeling about this. And it's kind of like, okay, maybe this isn't a cave that you're in. Like, maybe there's something wrong here. But to be fair, she says it to Han, and she says it not as a joke, kind of like this actually doesn't feel like a good thing. And she also, things aren't obviously bad yet. She's not being eaten by bears. They're kind of just in a suspicious cave.
Right.
So, anyway, what's the next one on the list there? Do we have that up there?
3PO in the Jabba's palace.
Yeah, so this is the first time.
I love this one.
This is the first time a droid says it, which is interesting because one, oh, you have feelings. That's interesting. And second of all, yeah, you idiot. You're going into the criminal cave. You're going into like a coke lord's house to offer yourself up.
Right. I mean, the second you get to the door and the eyeball pops out and it's like, well, don't do. Like, then you already know things are not good. And then the door opens and there's like spiders with brains in them and then pig people.
Golden idiot. Just stupid, stupid droid. Now, this one, I'll give it some credit. Episode 7, The Force Awakens, Han again says it. He says it all the time. He says this when the Rathtars get out. He goes, I got a bad feeling about this. And I'll allow it here because this is the first time anyone's seen Han in so long. Like this is the return to screen, he's Chewie, we're home and all that nonsense. So it's kind of fitting, and also Han has been in his fair share of scrapes at this point.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's one thing to be like, oh, the Rathtars got out, we'll handle it. But another thing is like, this could get very messy very quickly. So, it's a nice bit of like, oh, hey, audience, remember this guy? And also, I don't know, he would probably say that in that scenario. He's established himself as kind of a doofus and a smartass. So, on to the next one. What do we have? Do you have the list open there? You got Twitter open. What are you doing? You don't want to hear my stories?
I'm checking the tweets from the people on the show, man. They're all saying they hate you.
Yeah, they probably do.
No. Next we have K2SO on Scarif when he gets interrupted in Rogue One.
Yes.
Which I like this one too. Again, this is one of the many times where a droid says it, which is actually significant, like you just said. There's a significant portion of droids in these films that say that.
Yeah, so with this one I like it because it's the first time anyone's just told to shut up while they're saying it. And I feel like with Rogue One, you got to kind of actually start getting creative and you got to get interpretive and get a little bit weird with it. And we're going to have to start, if they're going to put this in every Star Wars movie, which they probably will, I think they're going to have to get creative.
Yes.
And this was the first time anyone actually did that. Now, on that note, another sort of runner-up here is in the newest one, in The Last Jedi, a lot of people were like, yo, Rian Johnson, you screwed up this movie on every single level, but most importantly, nobody said, I've got a bad feeling about this. And he was like, I made the droid say it in binary. And sure enough, there's a part where BB-8 says, and Poe goes, happy bleeps, little guy, or something like that.
I love that.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that makes a ton of sense. But as far as like actual, moving on, the actual like really sort of meaningful ones, let's keep going down this list. The prequels, for better or for worse, were the return of Star Wars. And one of the first line, actually the first line Obi-Wan says is he takes off his hood and goes, I've got a bad feeling about this. And it's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and it's like, I feel like that, Ewan McGregor is the best part of the prequels.
I remember seeing this in theaters and immediately being like, here we go.
Yep.
Star Wars is back.
Yeah. And
it's back.
And then it gets kind of weird because they like give them gas or whatever, and it's just kind of silly. But
and those stereotypes
as far as like
show
that,
up,
like
yes.
here it is. Here's why he's talking to Qui-Gon. He's like a Padawan still. He's kind of a smartass. So it fits the character and it fits the thing to the audience. So it makes sense on both levels, and I appreciate it on that front. Now as far as the first one, again, this is the second time it's ever said in Star Wars. It's when Han says it in the trash compactor. And this seems stupid at first because it's like, you're in a trash compactor on an Imperial Death Station, and the walls are starting to move, and there's like a monster in there with you. What's up with that? What's funny about that is that, first of all, the audience is being told, oh, this is a recurring gag. But second of all, is Han just making fun of Luke? Because the first time it's said is when Luke is approaching the Death Star in Episode 4. He honestly, the dude thinks he's going to Alderaan. He thinks he's going to get trained as a Jedi Knight. So I got a bad feeling about this. And then like, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes later, his friend's like, oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. And it's like, are you really bullying this farm boy at a time like this because he doesn't recognize like a death battle station?
Yep.
Anyway, yeah.
Finally.
The best one though is...
Let's do the last one.
That was the best one is when Luke says it the first time.
Yeah.
Because he would say that in that scenario. But I still think it's pretty funny when Han's like, oh, I got a bad feeling about this. You remember when you said that earlier, you idiot?
So that's 11 times total that it's been said across all the films. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And they're going to keep saying
That's more than the amount of Star Wars movies there are.
I hope that we get an alien saying it at some point, and we have to kind of like suss it out,
Yeah. So that's all the times that people said, I've got a bad feeling about this in Star Wars. Now you have that information in your head, and you can use it to impress people at parties.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Speaking of it, what's up?
Didn't BB-8 say it?
Yeah, we talked
we
about
got
that
it.
one.
You gotta watch the show, man.
Yeah.
Dan Parkhurst, who produces the show, was so busy making the show, he was like, did BB-8 ever say it?
Snapchat's gonna need the Infinity Gauntlet. That's why I was.
Oh yeah, they could
Snapchat
take it.
needs our Infinity Gauntlet? Seriously? We're in the middle of a live show here. They got to take our Infinity Gauntlet?
Unbelievable.
Give me a
You see
break.
that?
It's like the loudest toy we have.
It's so loud. Speaking of toys, I bought some toys recently, and I couldn't wait to show them to you guys because they're just horrible.
Oh, boy.
I went on eBay and I started looking up Mexican bootlegs.
Oh, boy.
Because I fell down a weird well recently, not physically, just emotionally. And I started realizing that a lot of the toys I had growing up, because I would buy them at like weird Italian street festivals in New Jersey, were bootlegs. And I had these things called Teenage Mutant Ninja Tartarangas.
Tartarangas.
And these like weird melted wrestlers. So I went on eBay, or basically Mexican eBay, and I found a seller who was selling these basically bags. They were like just bags of figures. Right off the bat, I knew something was wrong, as you can see, because that is a very stretched promotional image from one of the Mario Party games.
Well, probably it was originally released in 4:3 and they stretched it to widescreen.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into these toys because they are just the absolute worst. Now, these things are like 20 bucks for the whole bag of them. They smell, Max, can you give them a whiff?
Oh.
Yeah.
It smells like a tire store.
Yeah, it smells like if you only fed spray paint to a skunk and then let him poop
That's
in
not
your
good
hand.
at all.
Yeah. So
Something's not right at the old gasoline factory.
I don't know if we can get in close on these bad boys. So all of them are incredibly melted looking. And
This looks like if you found Donkey Kong frozen to death in a stream.
Yeah, and they're
sick,
really
man.
weird because they are somewhat articulated. You know, some of like Mario's hands here move. They forgot to paint the back of Mario's head, so it's just like melted skin tumors.
Yeah, that just looks like sebaceous cysts.
All of them look like they're seeing themselves in the mirror. Like they're all like.
Look at Luigi. He
Yeah,
looks like,
let's get a look at Luigi
He looks
here.
like something just kicked in. This
Luigi
is terrible.
literally has 2 games where he's scared, and he doesn't look as scared as he does here.
These all look like. These
he
all
looks
look
like he's flagging down a cop because there's been a karting accident.
Yeah, he's got deer in headlights eyes. God.
Coming up next is Wario. Wario just looks straight up horrible. Weirdest thing about him is that his neck is melted into the top of his head.
Okay, you're just gonna break it off?
Well, no, it actually comes off. But
What?
you can twist their heads and everything like that because they're, even though he's got, look at that flap of skin just hanging there.
That's disgusting.
So they basically like flash molded these and they just threw paint on them and they're just the worst.
Hey, Wario's cool, but what about Waluigi? He looks like also the iconic W on his hat. It's just like a T.
Yeah.
They didn't even get the name right.
They really made him look like just like the melted perverted uncle that he is.
He's a tiny
you
bit
know?
transparent, like a jellyfish.
Yeah. Let's talk about Bowser, the king of the Koopas. He's just a formidable opponent. But
This is what Bowser looks like before he puts on
what
makeup.
about if children painted his back with their mother's lipstick and his hair came off to reveal a bald head? It's me, the Bowser. Coming up next, did you show Donkey Kong yet?
Not yet.
He's not great.
These all look like crime scene photos of toys. Like they're very bad.
Yeah.
Look at how sick this man is.
I know. Again, he's articulated.
I've got bad news.
I'm actually surprised at how they got his tie on there because like they built it and then put his head on, which is like, that means someone had to stop to think about these things. And then finally, the best one of them all, Diddy Kong.
Oh God.
Look at this dude. First of all, he comes with this rat turd covered in blood that you can stick into his butt. It's supposed to be like a tail. It's just horrible. Get one more look at this guy. He looks like he went to hug like a fictitious zoo maternal unit. That
Does it look like he found his best friend dead?
Yeah. My father. Yeah, this is so tragic.
God,
if you're sick of real toys that are great and won't kill you, go on eBay and look for Mexican bootlegs because they're just the best. The same guy sells Star Wars toys, and they're even better because they're just like, it's like Yoda's body with Boba Fett's head, and there's like a black Bib Fortuna that I just have to buy. I have brain damage.
This is what happens when you kind of run out of sidewalk with toy collecting.
Yeah, exactly. So these are Mexican toys. They're available right now in Mexico.
Wherever
We're on
you
eBay.
can find them.
It's weird because the toys are like $10 and then shipping is like 20, but there it is.
That checks out.
Yeah.
So Avengers: Infinity War is stacking up to be one of the biggest movies of all time. It wouldn't surprise me if this was the highest-grossing movie in history. That being said, of course, there's merchandise to go with it, but you'd think that maybe the fact that it's the sequel to one of the highest-grossing movies in history, they could have done a little bit better with some of the action figures. All due respect, Hasbro was good enough to send some of these over, but the new Avengers figures are just a little bit wonky. Here's Cap right here. We got him set up. These are obviously, again, these are made for kids. These are the basic collection, not like collector grade or anything, and they're made to be kind of played with and beaten around. But
so these run what, like $10, $11?
These are like $10 a piece.
Yeah, and so you can buy the $20 Black Series ones, which are obviously much nicer.
Yeah.
But if you're kicking around Walgreens and you want a 6-inch action figure, there's these guys. They are.
Can't really see too close. He doesn't look bad from a distance.
They're okay.
Now my problem with these is they're nice enough to put in shoulder articulation here, and he's got one hand that can grip and hold the shield. And he's got ball joints. But his other hand he can't hold anything with his second hand there, which is kind of like, I don't know, you can't have your toy hold things with more than one hand. He doesn't have any knee joints, so he's got a goose step around like that, like he's not Captain America.
That's not good.
The paint isn't great. Cap is definitely sort of the best of the bunch. We've also got a Black Widow here who's just really, really not right. She's got a lazy eye. They apparently got some, I don't know if they got like early photos of the set or something, but they really went hard with the green vest here.
Yeah, in some of the promotional images we've seen from this film, she's got sort of like a dark forest green leather jacket, which I think they took literally to be sort of just like, what if it was seafoam green?
Yeah, and
lizard
also,
green.
Like, they made her blonde in this one, and I'm like, okay, sure. But they basically made Black Widow look like Rogue from the X-Men. It's not really, it's not even, I don't know.
We're going to go through a bunch of these toys now, and I think one of the running themes that you'll start to pick up on is that Scarlett Johansson is apparently incredibly impossible to capture in action figure form.
Yeah.
So here we have...
Here's Thor.
He's Thor.
He kind of looks like sad Pepe the Frog. Couple things I'm really curious about here. Again, they do this thing where he can't hold anything with his other hand. He's got like a hammer. He could theoretically actually pose with both hands on it, but they just didn't take the time to give him a hand to hold. Which I'm just like, that's just unimaginative toy design.
This also looks like the manliest version of Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family.
Now, one question I actually have seriously about this. Thor's, I don't know if he gets his eye back or if they just forgot to put an eye patch on. Like,
Are these toy spoilers? Are these toilers?
I don't know, if you didn't see Thor Ragnarok, like he gets an eye patch.
Yeah, no, I know about that, but everything seems to be fine over here.
Yeah, so he's got both his eyes, so I don't know. There you go with that. Now these all come with these little Infinity Stone gems, which are, sort of, weird packing accessories.
What is this? What is this thing you're holding? This looks
thing
like, this looks like a haunted
along with this.
children's toy.
These clip on to this little gauntlet.
Okay.
You put on your hand. And this is one of those things where I'm like, okay, I see where you're going here. Action figures have sort of gone down in quality with the rise of smartphones, because why would you buy your kid a hunk of plastic he's gonna choke on when you could just put an iPad in their face and they'll be quiet in Denny's? They made this pretty cool augmented reality helmet. This is also from Hasbro. It's $50, which is pretty decent. And there's this thing in here. You clip your phone in here and you get an app, and basically you get to be Iron Man. And it has this whole augmented reality thing where Thanos shows up and he tries to blow up your Avengers bases, which are these things. And these, put them on the ground and aliens will actually fly around them, and you put your hand out like that and it looks like Iron Man's glove. Which
That's cool.
Which is honestly pretty rad. They did a similar thing for, I think it was Lenovo did for Star Wars, and it was like $200, $300. It was really up there. And I was like, what parent is gonna buy that? And short answer, my stepbrother got it for his kids, and they played with it for a little while, and they were like, it's okay, I guess. This is $50. It's an Iron Man helmet. You can beat it around. I feel like that's kind of a nice happy medium. And what's cool is if you buy the action figures, the Infinity Stones act as like power-ups, so you clip them on there. You get to play with it that way. You want to put that on your face?
Does it fit?
Probably. Now, where it gets really, really silly and kind of bad is...
You didn't tell me that it looks like a nightmare in here.
Oh, sorry, I should have
Like,
told you.
it looks like Vertigo.
I'm sorry, I've blinded my friend. What's cool, though, is it protects you if I jam action figures in your eye sockets like this.
Are they in there? Oh, that's a heavy... Whose ass did you put in my eye?
I've got bad news, Brian. The Infinity War has begun.
I am the winner of the Infinity War. I love being Iron Man, the #1 richest robot man in the world.
Okay, so if you've been to a toy store in recent years, or you got lost in Target, or let's be honest, if you're watching this show, you probably go there anyway. You might have seen the, what are they called? They're called Titan Hero figures, and these are from Hasbro, and they have them across a whole bunch of different franchises and properties. They have them for Star Wars. I think this is the first time we've actually gotten a bunch of them in the office, and they're pretty hokey. I mean, they're totally made for like 6-year-olds to bash around in the backyard. I think they're about $15 a pop, but they're really dorky. Like, they're really just like, they're dorky toys.
Yeah, so the main hook here is they have an interchangeable backpack that you can slap on each one of them, and it'll activate different voice, sort of voice sounds from them, sound effects.
That's a new feature. This is an ongoing line that...
Black Widow in position.
Yeah, so Black Widow comes with this backpack, makes a bunch of sounds.
Assemble.
Yeah, she says that.
Firing stingers.
She fires stingers, I guess. But then you can clip
They
it
all
on.
do this too, which is a great pose for toys.
They could have given them like bent knees, but instead they're all very. They feel like.
Hey, Avengers Infinity War spoilers. Whee!
So anyway, I like how we're like.
They all do yoga in the sky.
Anyway, these toys are stupid. Anyway, let's play with them the way kids probably will.
Love that quote.
Wait, hold on.
I am Scarlet Witch.
I'm the Scarlet Witch.
I think that's actually her. I think that's the actress. I think they got her.
I think so too. I think that's one of the Olsen sisters.
And then we got another one of Iron Man here who just looks especially...
Is he okay?
Hey everybody, it's me, Robert Downey Jr. I'm here to save the day. He looks very Power Ranger-y.
Let's hear his voice.
Rangery.
I want to hear that man talk.
I am Iron Man.
I'm the Iron Man.
What's it gonna? There's nothing happens. It just makes the power up.
Iron Man locked and loaded.
What does he always say his name before he does stuff?
I like how they all
Iron
introduce
Man
themselves.
going to use the bathroom.
Now, the best of all, the real big bad.
Ooh.
Thanos. This is what's up. This is the big exciting one.
Evil Grimace reboot.
Unfortunately, Thanos is supposed to be like a huge dude. He's like the same height as all of them.
Yeah.
He's the same height as Black Widow. Like,
Hey guys,
so
what about
Thanos.
me?
This means that Thanos is like
What about
5'8".
me?
Get out of
me,
here.
This character.
Get outta
Remember
here,
me?
Falcon.
The Falcon.
You guys want to hear what?
Hi, it's me, Falcon. I was in the Ant-Man on the roof.
The
Falcon.
Infinity Stones are mine.
Wow.
Suffer my wrath. Your power is nothing compared to mine.
And then he explodes.
Oh.
So anyway, the power effects ones are, I think, $20, and the regular ones are like 15. The good news is they're still, of course, making action figures for discerning adults like us, and there's a whole new wave of Marvel Legends. Get that out of here. They're doing a bunch of these based on, like actually, these are like the collector grades ones. They're $10. They're super articulated. I love these action figures. These are the good ones. I don't like the big ones that have the funny legs. I like the cool ones you can pose into awesome poses like this.
Those are great.
Here's Proxima Midnight, who's one of the like Thanos' Black Guard or whatever. First time looking at this. Also, this character is huge because
Yeah.
these are mostly to scale, unlike the other ones. So that means this is going to be just like a bunch of giant purple people showing up on Earth.
He's got some like 8-foot-tall women friends that come out and kick some ass with tridents. Something like that.
Now the real bummer here, I don't know where did I put that torso? Here it is. So they've been doing the whole Build-A-Figure thing. Obviously, Thanos is like a huge part of Infinity War. He's the big bad guy. You got to buy all the action figures to build Thanos entirely. You got to buy his leg, and they all come with a piece comes with each one. Weirdly enough, Iron Man doesn't come with a single piece. You have to buy like Snake Whisperer or something to get like his leg. So go figure. Anyway, those are out now. So if you're interested in Infinity War stuff,
Did we get any guns?
oh yeah, we did get some guns. Well, let's get to that in a second. These are all the action figures. We gotta clear these out. There's too many toys out here. Now, Brian,
Hey Max,
you like the Avengers, right?
love the Avengers.
You love the Avengers.
Biggest fan on earth.
Do you remember when the Avengers were guns?
Yeah.
They're back now. So they've made this whole thing. It's called Nerf assembler gear, and basically it's the idea of what if the Avengers were Nerf guns.
How do they shoot?
That one you gotta push that button there. I don't know if I loaded it. They're actually pretty hard to cock. Honestly, these are pretty tricky, but the good news is they're totally modular, so you can clip them all together and get completely nonsensical with them.
Sweet.
This one's inspired by Star-Lord, and this one, of course, is the good old Hulk.
Classic moment in the Hulk.
Who could forget? Now, what's funny though is when you combine all of these, it gets completely ridiculous. Let me pull it up here. I've got an image of a kid having like just too much fun.
I'll vamp while you're
Please do.
putting it together.
Here it
So-
is.
So here's one of the guns right now. Just
Yeah.
classic movie moment.
Do you remember when Star-Lord and the Hulk teamed up to launch foam darts at their foes? I don't.
I do not either.
Here's what it looks like if you get all these guys together. I love this. This is like
broke
one of
my
my
computer.
favorite weird stock
Holy
photos.
crap! Is it shooting water?
So basically, they took that whole. That's actually not water. That's a plastic piece that comes with the Spider-Man one.
You're a plastic piece that comes with the Spider-Man one.
You know me so well. But yeah, so you basically combine all these. I don't know. They're like, what if those hamster tubes you buy from Petco were the Avengers, but were also Nerf guns?
Yeah, I'm very confused by all this.
I don't know if this is like a
Let
thing
me see.
that kids will love
I'm working
or
on
what.
a cool build here.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing over
I'm
there?
making a nice gun for the movie The Avengers. It's coming out in the theaters.
Oh God, there's so many clips on them.
Yeah, so these are really weird. Again, I don't really know who these are for. That's a good question.
I think they're for children. You know.
There we
like
go.
Real children, not adult ones. Did I break it? Hold on, wait. I might have broken that one. Get the hand on there. You gotta get the hand. So it's a fun party game. Bop it.
Hell yeah, I love the gun.
So there it is. You've seen it here first, an exclusive look at what the Infinity War would look like.
Classic movie moments. Spoilers.
We can't even figure out how to shoot them, but maybe you can. So
Look at all these holes.
Yeah, huge thank you for Hasbro for sending this to us adult men that we could play with the toys.
Maybe you could hold it like this. I'm just glad I didn't get hurt this time.
Finally, my gerbils have a place to live.
Man.
All right.
Okay. Just a few minutes left in the show. I wanted to talk about something really cool. Let's clear some space over here. This is still. I still don't really get what's
Hey,
going on.
I want to make an honest woman of you, Brian. Will you be mine?
I will be yours. I will be your date to the Avengers.
Here, let me send out the invites.
We got an awesome box recently from a company named Brick Loot. Now, Brick Loot, you've probably seen Loot Crate. Everyone in the world has done their own version. Even Blue Apron does it with like the human food now, which is very odd. Brick Loot is a company that basically takes Legos and Lego-style bricks, and they mail them out to you in special theme boxes where you will get a box of buildable toys, which is so different than just getting like a Funko Pop or something. Now, Brick Loot was basically invented by a very young kid who had an idea of building his own Lego kits and putting them together and putting them out there.
His name Matt Delanoy.
No, that's the, well, yes, that one is specifically.
Oh.
So here we go. So all of them come with instructions and they come with boxes. This month's theme was arcades, which is pretty much perfect for us to start subscribing to this for the first time. And so one of the cool things we got here is they basically built little arcade sets. And so I built this one because it's much more interesting than showing you guys just a bag of pieces. And it's basically like a Daytona Racers arcade set that I put Bosk from Star Wars in because he doesn't get enough action time in the screen, so I figured he'd get some stuff to do here, which is really cool. This is another one. It's sort of just like a motorcycle arcade game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they're cool little builds. They have custom stickers. They interact and sort of click together in ways that I didn't really expect Legos to. You know, in the way like sort of the more modular Lego community, no pun intended, comes up with ways to build out Lego kits.
Now, what's interesting here is this one, it's like not name brand Lego. I don't know if it's like Mega Blocks or what.
It's not, but this one is.
This one, yeah, it says 100% real Lego bricks. I only want my kids using free-range organic Lego.
Yeah, so the
grown in
style
the
guide's
fields
kind of
of
all over
Denmark.
the place here, but you know they all come with printed color instructions. Obviously, two kits in here. The boxes are different. Max, you can open up that one.
What do we got here? Is
That's
this
a
a minifig?
blind-bagged minifig.
Oh, that's awesome.
And because it's arcade themed, they also threw in a hat. So you got a Pac-Man hat here, and his logo is made out of sort of pixels or little studs. And he's eating little Lego studs as well. So who'd you get? A criminal?
It's like a little adventure man team. He looks like a crook, actually. He looks, yeah, it looks.
Many of us do.
Look at this guy.
I get that a lot.
Actually, wait. Is it you? It's kind of you.
Oh my God, it's me.
That's
kind of awesome.
There's.
So Brick Loot is somewhere between $24.88 and $27.28 a month. Very arbitrary numbers, but plus a little bit of shipping. They ship to 10 countries worldwide. Hey, there he is.
the same
You can head to
man, look at
brickloot.com and check him out. Now you can get a 1-month subscription, a 3-month subscription, or a 6-month subscription. I hope they keep sending us these. That is a little version of me. Look at that. Can we get that?
Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Got it.
Perfect.
You're
Got
good.
him. Get that Lego off. me.
What's this here? This is actually really cool.
So that's a USB LED light that you can plug into your computer and just kind of have, which is pretty cool. So yeah, they found a really interesting way to go, how do we send people Legos and make something cool out of them? The cool thing about Lego is that unlike Loot Crate and Funko Pops and all that other stuff, you can take them apart and build whatever you want. So even if you don't like the kits themselves, you get a bunch of bricks in the mail that you can build into anything.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Get that thing to light up.
Hold on, let me see.
There we go.
Yeah, look at that. It's a light.
Can you put it in your mouth?
I could.
Don't do it.
I shouldn't.
Don't. You're gonna get electrocuted. So that's Brick Loot. Go check them out. They are making really cool shit. I can't believe I cursed right there, but that was perfect timing for that. I love doing the show live. It's the most fun I've ever had. We have, what, like a minute left in the show?
Yeah, so you want to just hang out?
Yeah, you want to get any other curses out of the...
I got one. Fart.
That's a great one. Yeah. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in on the chat. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, which I see many of you are, say hello, ask us a question. We have a minute left in the show. We have some cool stuff coming up next week, I believe. We have some guests, hopefully. We're trying to
Yeah.
enable all that. Next week
next
is GDC.
week is the big game developer conference that happens in San Francisco every year, and it's there's always something weird comes out of that. There's always some kind of cool piece of technology. I don't know. You play a game with a giant tennis ball as a controller, or I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a mystery.
So all of these toys you can buy right now. So that's great. If you're looking to fill that toy-shaped hole in your heart, like Max and I always are, you can go buy some toys. Max, you bought a toy recently that you'll probably show off next week, right?
Yeah, I got a brand new Goku figure that's like really, really nice, and I'm dying to kind of talk about that. I don't know. It's like a weird bittersweet time to be a toy collector because if you've got a little bit of money to throw around, there's some like really awesome collector grade stuff. But at the same time, it seems like kind of kids are more driven towards games and apps and stuff.
Yep.
So there's less attention paid to making action figures. Like, I mean, is there a generation that's going to grow up being nostalgic for this kind of stuff, or is it just going to kind of die out along with, it's going to be like weird 40-year-old dudes like us buying it?
I don't know. The big story this week is that Toys R Us is closing all of its stores, and as someone bringing a child into the world, that really bums me out. So I will do everything I can to make sure that toys are an important presence in the universe forever. That is Up at Noon. Thank you so much for watching. Do we have anything coming up next? There's our boys in the back room. We didn't feed them any nightmare candy this week, so they're feeling good.
Yeah.
They're all right. Those guys, they all pooped blood for about a month after that episode, so give them a round of applause. I'm Brian, that's Max. Up at Noon will return next week with the exciting conclusion to what is Thanos going to say?
The Infinity Stones are mine.
That's Josh Brolin.
Maybe. Up at Noon, 2018 remix.
Suffer my wrath.
Just end it.
You gotta stop the show.
Turn it
What-
off.
what's
Just
going on?
stop making
So
us
awkward now. All right, fine. We'll do it again.
We'll keep doing it.
I'll do another. I'll do another hour right now. I will rank all the Runts candies. Number 8, banana. That's a weird one. Doesn't even taste like
I
banana.
don't think that should even be on the list. I think
Yeah.
Runts is no good.
I agree.
Why are they making us do this? This is terrible.
I don't know. It's still going. I like it.
Infinity